Okay, my name is Dэн Inossanto. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I believe it's August the 1st in 1964. I was under Ed Parker at that time, and I was told to take care of Bruce Li when he was in Long Beach, California. I was the elimination tournament. I set up the tournament. That was the first international karate championships they had. And my job was to make sure that Bruce Li ate and to drive him around and for sightseeing around the Long Beach area and just show him the Long Beach area, Los Angeles area. And that's what I did with Bruce Li at that time. His demonstration was, he showed various different things. He showed what the his best demonstration was in front of the black belts, in my opinion. And then he gave one in front of the whole crowd in 1964, demonstrating what was traditional Chinese Kung Fu and what his system was at that particular time period. Jung Ri was probably one of the best instructors at that time in the United States in Taekwondo. And exceptionally good kicker. And my thing of Bruce Li was that he was very all-around, kicking, punching, striking. In the clinching game or in the trapping game, he was superb. He, at that time, was living in Seattle, and then he was going to move in with James Lee. But before he did that, he stayed about, it seemed like 3 weeks, doing demonstrations at the Sing Lee Theater in Chinatown. And he needed a fall guy to do this. And so I wanted to learn from him. I told him I was very impressed in what he was teaching. And he phoned me up and he says, well, would you dummy for me at these demonstrations at the Sing Lee Theater? So about 3 weeks, he taught me and I became his dummy for a demonstration at the Sing Lee Theater in Los Angeles, Chinatown. It seemed like I was there in Los Angeles for about 2.5 weeks. And every day we gave a demonstration on something at the Sing Lee Theater. And then when he moved back to the Oakland area, he called me down for a San Francisco demonstration, which I believe was like 3 days at some Chinese theater in the San Francisco area. And after that time, he taught me while I was giving demonstration. And then I said, boy, he lived so far, but then I started to commute to the Oakland area where he lived to learn from him. And then his time in the Oakland area wasn't very, very long. You know, he moved there about 64, but by 65, I believe it's December of 65, he had made a lot of trips into the Los Angeles area. And I studied every time he made a trip in the Los Angeles area. Or I made a trip into the Oakland area to study under James Lee and under Bruce Li. I think at that time, yes, he told me that he was engaged to Linda at that time period. I stayed in contact with him all the way till his death. I think he moved into Hong Kong to do pictures, and that was in the 70s. I want to say 70 and 71. He starts to move to Hong Kong. And I still kept in touch with him in Hong Kong. Well, he moved quite frequently. He lived in Barrington Plaza, was one of the areas in where he lived in, if I recalled. And then he moved to a place in Culver City. And from Culver City, he moved to a place near Inglewood. And then from Inglewood, I believe, he moved into the Bel Air area. So those are the 4 places where I trained with him at. If my memory is correct, it lasted about, probably about a year. He thought it was over with, but he kept on rehabbing the back until he was able to bring it up to the level that we now know. I think it always bothered him, but he for the most part, he overcame it just by doing rehab exercises that he'd sort of discovered. And that's how he pulled through it. He did it by doing good morning exercises, not like the movie. No. He overdid it doing the exercise, doing these, some exercise, I think it was the good morning exercises. Yeah, he calls it good morning. And then he just rehabbed it. But he learned a lot during that time period because he went more deeper into the writing and the developing of the system. I think you get the weight and you just go down, but he was using too much weight, and he's going like that, and I guess it was way too much weight, and then he strained his back from that.